opaque confines of my office. We're live, and we are bad. Tonight, on After the Tony, we will tell you how an electric vehicle fire will burn through it. No, I got nothing. What's going on, people? Dean Stevenson in the chat. What's going on, Dino? How's the future? Anything cool happen? My glasses are extra glary. Dean Stevenson saying how to report aliens illegally in the United States and or the companies that hire them. For English, press 1 now. Unfinished Project saying hello, good night. Unfinished, have a good night, brother. Thanks for stopping in. Have a great week. Make sure to check your fluids, man. Mike N32451 is in the chat. Not much, Mike. Just soaking in that whole decapitation story, just like you, man. How are you? Danny Boyd's in the chat. How you doing, Dan? Oh, man. Charlie Roma's in the chat. Howdy, Charlie. How you doing, brother? Tabo Garage. What's going on, guys? Mopar Man, 1978. A wanted man. Danny Boyd saying, I got caught drinking beer at work the other day. They didn't give you too much crap, did they, Dan? Dan, I'm working with a guy right now that's real heavy on the cognac. I mean heavy on the cognac. He's an older dude, so no one's going to say a damn thing to him about it, but just the same, it's kind of funny. Unfinished Project saying, Thomas, of course you looked it up. Unfinished, I don't know if... Oh, man. Mike N said, I know, right? I thought it only happened 4 years ago. I was dialing 911. Oh, man. Danny Boyd said, no, he was just cutting grass. Nice, nice. Mike N saying, Mopar Man, I was thinking more Johnny Cash, but Rat's good too. Danny Boyd saying, but I cracked me a Coors Light probably before noon that day. Coors Light doesn't count. Coors Light doesn't count. Miss Olive Drab's in the chat. Howdy, Olive. Welcome. Shell is in the chat. How you doing, Shell? Are you still being stocked? Cousin Mike of Landon Custom Classics is in the chat. Cousin Mike has been deep cleaning his house today. But no matter how hard he tries, he cannot scrub the sadness off of the walls. Buff Del Campo's in the chat. Turbo Del Campo. Mike N said, I didn't realize he went through 12 guys at the shop. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people he helped out that kind of didn't really return the favor. Rich GT350R is in the chat. So Shell is, in fact, being stocked. How you doing, Rich? Olive says, yeah, some came in sets. Yeah, groups of people. I mean, lots of people he helped out. And, again, not a lot of reciprocation there. Everybody just kind of was like, Tony's mean. I don't know. I've stuck to my guns there. I'm grabbing some tea, guys, so don't think I'm just disappearing on you. It's tea time. Tea for the Tillerman. That's Zero's favorite album. Oh, dear. Tea. Shell's asking, how's my favorite stalker, Rich? I was saying, also, I suspect our dear Uncle Tony isn't always the easiest guy to work with. No, I mean, obviously the guy's, you know, he's got a certain level of madness, but you have to understand that madness. I would say. I don't know, though. I'm unenlightened. Dave Lewis is in the chat. He's saying, we're here. How are you, Dave? How are you, man? Shell saying, oh, wait a minute. It's my week to stock Rich. Dean gets to stock me next week. They take turns. It's a rotation. Dave's doing good. Glad to hear it, man. Anything cool come through the shop? Mike Ann is saying, tea. The Chinese invented it, the British stole it, and the Americans perfected it. Is that why they say all the tea in China? I'm not fond of that phrase. I always prefer to say all the beans in Mexico. And most people are not fond of me saying that, so. Rich is saying, I'm not stocking anyone except Dean. Dave's saying, just parts showing up? Yeah, well, that's better than them not showing up, I guess. The food nerd is in the chat. Howdy, Ma. How are you? Oh, that's hot as hell. Holy shit. Take a second. Just deal with that. Ad Zero is in the chat. Ad Zero, I was just accusing you of listening to Cat Stevens. Unfinished Project is saying, after 7 years of treatment, he was deemed fit for trial. He was sentenced to 50 years to life in prison. Well, that's healthy. I mean, there are, I know it's Halloween, but decapitation is still not a cool thing. At Zero saying, hi, Mooney's mom. Yeah, my mom calls me Mooney, which, is something you probably think she would have left in my younger years, but no, here I am as an adult. Grown men know me as Mooney. Thanks, Ma. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. Buff Del Campo's got a great question here. Does the Food Nerd have content yet? I'm not sure. Mom, did you upload any videos? Olive saying Ari needs a Moon Eyes hat. I tried to get one, Olive. Last at the Moon Eyes, the New Year's party they had, I was looking around, but they didn't have a Moon Eyes trucker hat. And Hubie's kid was working the merch stand for Moon Eyes. And I was like, hey, man, do they have a trucker hat? And he's like, no, but I can get you one from Clay Smith. So that's how I got the Clay Smith hat. And here we are. Mom calls me Ming, too. Yeah. Mom says, I'm going to, I swear. She's gonna upload some videos, guys. She's gonna be cooking some Indian food, probably. Some vindaloo or something of the sort. Shell's saying, I want a 426 tattoo on one bicep and a 5.2 on the other. Annie Boyd saying, I wanted my heroes, Beetle Bailey and Snuffy. Always one of my heroes, Beetle Bailey and Snuffy Smith. I've got a bunch of crappy tattoos. They're all like garage tattoos. None of them are that great. So it's like, Chris Greenaway saying it's getting cold. Chris, I was thinking the same thing here, and for me that means about 60 degrees. Mopar Man saying I'd like to shop at Moon Eyes in person. It's right here, brother. I mean, it's like up the freeway, probably about 35 minutes. Only because of traffic, That's Zero saying, dude, it's tiny. Yeah, it's not a big place. It's right there on Norwalk near Slauson, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, it's a cool little spot. Little burger place down the street. I think it's called Angelo's or something. Oh, God, the tea is way too hot still. Why do I keep doing that to myself? Bless my heart. Chris Greenaway saying, Shell, you buy me a 72 Gran Torino, I'll buy you a 71 Cuda. Dean Stevenson saying, this morning's unprecedented solar eclipse is no cause for alarm. Olive saying, I need a sticker of Big Moon Eyes for my housemate's robot vacuum. I have to send those your way, Olive. I definitely owe you a favor by now. Cousin Mike saying, Chris, I know where you can get one cheap. That's a thing, guys. If you can't find a car, if you can't find parts for your car, get them imported from Idaho. Cousin Mike will find them for you. Shell saying, Chris, I'd keep the Gran Torino. Danny Boyd saying, I like watching cats ride on the robot vac. Ad Zero saying, Dean, you say that, but it's also you saying that. Great point there. Buff Del Campo was saying, I had a 72 Gran Torino back in the day, 429/C6. What a badass car. Buff's had some really great cars. Terrence Seymour is saying, Terrence Seymour is in the chat. Terrence Seymour and Mr. Greaves. He's saying, evening, guys. I've got the day off, working the weekend, so I'm out in the garden planting sweet potatoes and tomatoes. Nice, man. I keep forgetting the seasons are opposite because you're on the world's ass. Terrence just told me a great story. He had some homemade cookies, and Mr. Greaves, the munchkin cat, the lemur-tailed munchkin cat, took them, got a hold of, dragged the box apparently across the kitchen, opened it, and ate all of the raisins off of the cookies. That's a strange cat. That's unique. That took skill. Olive saying, Gran Torino, so many cool things, too heavy for me to test physics with. Chris Greenaway saying, Buff, isn't there anything you didn't own? Cousin Mike saying, my 68 Thunderbird is a 429 Thunderjet with a C6. That car is really badass too. Brian M's in the chat. Howdy, Brian. How you doing, man? I just sent Brian a picture of his old Nemesis, the Jack in the Box here on El Toro Road. Buff Del Campo saying, yeah, that Torino weighed in at 4,997 pounds. That is insane. My truck's only about 4,200. Maybe less now, technically, because I got rid of the 6-cylinder. So I'm probably right around 4. I mean, I made up for it some with that SM420, but just the same. That 6-cylinder was heavy. 6-cylinder weighed as much as a big block, damn near. As much as a big block with aluminum heads, at least. Ed Zero saying, Gran Torino. Some are nice. Bummer it's so racist. Yeah, I never seen the movie. Just know it's racist. Terrence Seymour is talking about Mr. Greaves. He's saying he's a cute lunatic. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of cat gets into cookies, much less only eats the raisins. Maybe you have elves or something, some kind of gnomes. New Zealand probably has some gnomes. Buffalo Campo saying, I've only had about 70 cars. It's a couple. That's a couple. Olive saying, I've not seen that movie. I approve of the Forest Green, though. It's a pretty cool movie. It's not the most uplifting movie, but it's a good movie. More uplifting than $1 Million Baby, but not entirely uplifting. Dave Lewis is saying his 34 weighs in at 2,700 pounds. That's such a sweet car. Such a sweet car. Mopar Man saying, speaking of vacuums, we nicknamed our shop vac after Bill Clinton because both noses like to suck up powder like no tomorrow. Good old Bill. Ryan M saying, but I like the redemption arc. Have no fear, the Dougster is temporarily here. Howdy, Doug. How are you, man? You got work in a couple hours or what? Dean Stevenson saying, we named our shop vac J. Edgar Hoover. Ad Zero saying, we grew up here. I only wondered why it wasn't set in Westminster, California, the home of Little Saigon. Little Saigon, indeed. Driving through that place is pretty dangerous. I like to put on Run Through the Jungle while I'm doing it. And make sure to have your 1,000-yard stare. See if I can, how I drive when I'm in Little Saigon. Anyway, back on track here. Mo Poor Man saying Dean does address. Was J. Edgar Hoover a cross-dresser? I don't even know. Mike N saying just don't start putting dresses on the shop. Okay, so that confirms that. Buff Del Campo saying a Gran Torino is racist. Mine was an overheat that I bought for $200 back in 1978. I rebuilt the engine with all 1969 T-Bird parts, heads, timing set, the good stuff. Then traded it for a Mazda rotary. That's always crazy to me when I hear about trades like that. You know, like my buddy's pops had a big block El Camino that he traded for a Datsun pickup. You know what I mean? And nowadays, I mean, I'm kind of a picky prick, I guess, but I mean, I would never make a trade like that. But back in the day, it's like that was what was hot, that was what was new. The value wasn't there on the older cars, so it was a good trade back then. That's crazy. Olive saying, yeah, apparently he cross-dressed while persecuting queers. Typical. Yeah, what's with that? Why did it? Yeah. Abel D is in the chat saying, how are you, Ari and gang? I'm doing all right, Abel. Just hanging in here. A little bit sleepy tonight. I hope I'm not boring you guys, but I'm enjoying it. Just talking, yapping. So far, we've talked about Little Saigon, Gran Torinos, and cross-dressing. It's always the funny ones that want to persecute, though. John Goggins in the chat. Howdy, John. How are you, man? Buff Del Campo saying I was really into rotaries, so the Mazda was fun. Yeah, whatever you're into. I mean, it's the same thing as me in the 6-cylinder. A lot of people just replace those things outright, but I liked the machine so much that I just ran it until I couldn't run it. So if I was in a different position, had a little more money, I probably would have rebuilt the damn thing, but I don't know. Or maybe run a 292 or something, but it's like I already had a 350, so I would be kind of an ass not to just use the 350, right? Andy Boyd saying Datsun 510s were popular on Mulholland Drive. All I'm saying, I still haven't really driven a rotary. I figure I'll either love it or hate it if I do. You're not wrong there, Olive. Dean saying it's really bad on your self-esteem when you arrive at the load pit bay with 6 big buff guys and you're wearing your wife's nightgown. I mean, I don't know. I figure it's kind of akin to a kilt, right? Dave Lewis is saying, when I started driving a 446 pack car, anywhere from $500, Hemi cars were $800 and up. I can't, you know what I mean? Cold War Motors said that. Like their phrase was, I think they're all worth $500 at some point or another. They probably put it more eloquently, you know, with more Canadian finesse, but they said something to that effect, and it's really true. All the damn cars are worth like $500 at some point or another. Dougster saying, I seen a never finished twin Mazda rotary rail dragster, crank to crank. Had a small turbo for each mill, and the old guy said the man who ported the magnesium exhaust manifolds had months of work in. Like Ensign, I've been reading up on the Zoot Suit riots back in late World War II. Yeah, that was right here, Mike N. The whole, what was it, the Sleepy Lagoon Club and everything. Frank Leva. I'm so used to saying Leva, I think I just called him. I think that's a slur. Uh, yeah, Mike, have you ever seen the movie? It's Edward James Olmos. He pops in as, I think, is it Frank or is it Henry Leva? He pops in as the guy's alter ego, his Pachuco ego. And when he comes on the screen, he'll like pop in and it's like a flame. And he's like, Orale pues. It's pretty great. Abel D saying, Abel, you can talk about whatever you want here. Bufftail Compo saying, we rebuilt about 40 Mazda rotaries back in the late 70s. I don't really want them anymore. Just burnt yourself out on it or what? At Zero's got. I remember when you bought that Dart. I think you got the Dart the same year that I got the Apache, didn't you? I mean, all I'm saying, I indeed prefer my old Z with the L28. Mike N, I don't know if Edward James Olmos was specifically, but the movie's great. It's a musical, Mike. So I mean, it's got music from what's the guy's name? Lalo Guerrero, a few other people, but it's got its own score too. And it's a pretty cool watch actually. If you haven't seen it, it depends what you're into. I'll watch musicals because of my mom. Thanks, Mom. Got a dream, boys, got a song. Paint your wagon, come along. Oh, man. Dean saying I was up at 4:30 a.m. for work and my wife had no nightie. How do I get it back? Do I ring her? It was complicated. Wear what you got to wear. Dean, especially if it's a warehouse job, no one cares. It's not like there's a set uniform. Wear the nightie. Able D saying, I got my 1995 for 500, RV for free, 99, 59 Land Rover as a barter for getting an RV fixed and on the road. Abel, what are the I don't know, I guess it would have to be like an 80s Land Rover. The ones that are like in the Narcos show on Netflix and everything. I saw one earlier. It's a pretty damn cool looking car. And the same era of Toyota Land Cruisers are really great too. Olive's saying, I'm more alarmed that people can't tell time from an analog clock. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Shell's saying, I love that movie. Isn't it a cool one? I haven't seen it for years and years. But I love just the the musical score and everything, of course. And Edward James Olmos was so classic. I actually worked security with one of his nephews, Tony Olmos, when I was at the House of Blues. And Tony looked just like him. And he would pop up and like quote his uncle and stab me, like fake stab, not really, obviously didn't really stab me, but he would fake stab me like in American Me and stuff. And he's a really, really cool dude to work for. Tony Olmos, badass guy. All I'm saying, I had a 77 in Texas before they were expensive again. Couldn't stand Texas, though. We've got Gabby in the chat saying, can you say hi, Gabby, please? Hi, Gabby. Welcome. We are talking about classic cars and musicals. I hope that's not too boring. Mike Ken saying Ari Sondheim. It's a Lovely Merriment of Music by Stephen Sondheim. Gabby saying it's not. Well, welcome. Jason's Garage is in the chat. Howdy, brother. What's going on, man? It's a real exhilarating chat over here. I'm running my mouth. I've got some tea. How's it going, man? Anything cool going down? Danny Boyd saying, ain't talking about no musical unless it's the Blues Brothers. Dan, what about South Park? Bigger, longer, and uncut. Musical. Mike Gann saying almost showed up singing backup on a few famous albums in the 70s. I didn't know about that. I just like Edward James Olmos, especially in Miami Vice. Because, you know, he was just playing Edward James Olmos. It was great. Never saw it, Dan? Dan, that's worth a watch, man. I'm telling you. It's worth a watch. Kenny Boyd saying Blues Brothers is a musical which happens to have one of the greatest ever car chases. Yeah. Plus the soundtrack to Blues Brothers is so good. You got John Lee Hooker, you got Sam and Dave, you've got, the list goes on. Jason's Garage is working on the mini bike and listening. Nice, man. I hope I don't put you to sleep, man. Don't pass out on the mini bike. Mike Insane, he sang backup for Todd Rundgren on one of his albums, which, along with Vicki Lawrence, that's badass. Oh, let's say, what was his name? Castillo? That was kind of defining. Yep. Mopar Man saying, question for the other techs in the chat. I tried my 15x7 slotted on the back of my Dart. Has about 3/8 between the tire and lip of the well, and about 1.5 between tire and leaf springs. Do I need a 15x8? Couldn't tell you there, Mopar Man. I haven't experimented too much with tire size or wedging them in there. Ian saying we're missing a dog. Dan saying Ray Charles and Cab Calloway. Yeah, of course. That was pretty great. It was really great. Must be kind of hard being such a jive turkey, being so close to Thanksgiving. I'm saying Zappa was a genius. I was just reading an article where I didn't realize there's an oldies song, one of the Art LeBeau oldies. I don't know if you guys keep up with that stuff. Kind of an LA thing. But Zappa co-wrote Memories of El Monte. I thought that was really cool. Oh, we got a wedding across the way. It sounds like they have decent music for once, though. Mike Gann is saying my 17-year-old Dachshund is on Dachshund. I can't say it without the fake German accent. Is still living on the mend. Glad to hear that, Mike. The little Dackle must live. All I'm saying, what size tire are you running, Mopar Man? 1978. You might want less offset offhand. With A-bodies, though, think of the wheel center line, and it's okay to basically widen your track if it fits. Del Monte. Dean. Dean, I do the same thing at work. When people are talking about things that bore me, I just, like, they were arguing about a login at work, and I was like, oh, Kenny logins? Yeah, right? Danger zone. So I just know that I'm boring you, Dean. Brian M. saying decent music. How did that happen at a wedding? I don't know. It'll probably go back to the... I was sitting there. I was totally wondering why... I might have said this on the last live stream, why I kept hearing the same songs at every wedding. And my lady informed me it was on one of the podcasts she watches. It's called Camp Counselors. A couple guys, hilarious. They're pretty. They say some really funny shit. And they were reviewing. Or no, it wasn't Camp Counselors. It was the Basement Yard. Basement Yard, Joe Santagato, and they were reviewing the top wedding songs, the list of top however many wedding songs, and every single song that I complain about on here constantly was on the list. So that's something. I think we got Grover Washington and Bill Withers. Yeah, just the two of us. Yeah. I can't tell if it's a band playing it or not, though. There are some decent bands that come play these weddings, but it's rare. Pretty rare on that one. The what do we get? What did I miss? Dougster is out for the night. Saying good night, everyone, and have a great time. Dougster is out. Dougster, thanks so much for stopping in, brother. Have a great week. I know I'll see you sometime this week, and I'll probably text you, man. So be safe out there. Check your fluids. Popular Rocky Top. Olive saying A-body axles are actually narrower than they need to be anyway, so not much harm in it. I think they had 245 60 14s, or I had 245 60 14s on my Duster with like reverse dish, like Ari's rims. Yeah, the chrome reverse wheels. I love those things. Mopar Man saying Rocky Top gets overly played here in Branson, especially at the music shows. Mike N saying Rocky Top by the Osborne Brothers. I think so, Mike. At Zero saying I can't listen to music made for sheep. If millions of people are like something, doesn't make it good. Since when? That's true. There's a lot of truth in that. I mean, you know, there's few. Yeah, no, you're just right. It's never been big on that kind of stuff. Rocky Top's a good one, but I mean, I feel like it's a pretty good song, you know. But then it's like people just want to listen to bluegrass and they don't know any bluegrass to listen to, so they put on Rocky Top. But anything with a banjo roll is going to make you listen. Oh, Dean. Olive's saying too much tire in the back. There may actually cost you more than it's worth, depending your power and purpose. There's room to play. Mom's talking about Old and in the Way. That's Jerry Garcia, David Grisman, Vassar Clemens, and Tony Rice. And that is really great bluegrass. Really great bluegrass. I'm talking like Bobcat Goldthwait. Oh, man. Mike Inn's talking about Earl Scruggs, Alison Krauss. Oh, yeah. Old and in the Way, though, man. They did their version of Wild Horses. It's just amazing. The Hobo Song. I've been knocking. Tony Rice does the song version of. I think it's might be an old Charlie Monroe song originally, but the way Tony Rice sings it is just so. He hits this high note, just screaming the damn song. Danny Boyd saying, tight is when you and your car get trampled by cattle, understeer. Abel's asking, is anyone here in SoCal doing Power Tour West in December? Abel, I mean, I could try, but they cranked up the hours at work, so I'll probably be on 6 days, probably for maybe the rest of the year. At Zero saying, Mopar man, I don't have any knowledge of fitment on the early A bodies. Mopar man, don't talk crap on the Banjo kid. That kid's great. Ian saying, listen to No Punks and K-Town mix. At Zero got me. It scares the punks away at 4:15 a.m. when I go to the state, past the state house. Olive's saying, if I do remember anything, you want a certain axle conversion to make the rally wheels fit up nice. I'm unenlightened. Danny Boyd saying, my car understeers so bad that I can see the cow's hoof prints. Sheet metal. Deliverance. You know, that's another one that's like, you know, if it weren't for the one scene, you know what I mean? If it weren't for that one scene, it would be a completely different movie. Pulp Fiction kind of fits the same mold, but Pulp Fiction's a little bit easier to watch. Maybe. Depends on how you look at it. But if you omit the one specific scene that gets so much focus, Deliverance is a great adventure movie. It's got a lot to say. I mean, I really feel like they could have, it needs to be remade. You know how they're remaking everything. Obviously, you can't get John Voight and Burt Reynolds again. You can't. But they need to remake Deliverance and omit that very specific scene, or maybe just allude to it, and it'll be a different movie. Abel saying, Irwindale to Vegas, back to Pomona. I could do it, Abel. I might want to run an electric fan, but I could do it. Abel D saying, Motor Trend needs Wilburn to promote Power Tour 23. Old poor man said I put an 8 3/4 under the dart. Danny Boyd saying I was the only person who didn't like Pulp Fiction. It's just a bunch of shock value, old cars, and old music. Dan, you have to watch it again. It's a lot more than that. It is le film noir. Mom's saying the Steel Drivers are good. Steel Drivers are pretty good. Dean, I don't know if you're serious there or not. I could never tell. All I'm saying, that may do it, Mopar Man 78. Also, it's okay if your tires aren't like near kissing the springs, or for handling purposes anyway. Deep South is all right, Ma. They're not that good of a string band, though. Brian, he might be screwing with you. He plays with words like that. It might just be one of the songs of whoever he's talking about. Z-Dean, it's like that boy who cried wolf. I'm waiting to see. He may have mentioned this before. Oh, Dean, it was serious. I'm sorry about that, brother. It's no good at all. I mean, yeah, it's no good at all. I'm sorry, brother. Danny Boyd saying, Able D, if you meant the right-wing red pill, it would only make me hate that movie more. Well, poor man saying, Ari, did you get a chance to listen to the 97th Regimental String Band yet? No, I haven't, man. You got to send me a video, because I write it down sometimes. I don't listen to all of it. Yeah, all of it's how I feel. Rich is giving me the look. Yeah, I feel you, Rich. But in my defense, I don't know if Dean's messing with me or not. So that's just because he's such a good linguist. It's not because, you know, like in saying, Dino, that link reminds me of a bad acid trip. Oh yeah, those will linger with you, Mike. They'll stay forever, forever and ever. Dean saying it's great music that's helping him. Got great friends here, and a little love is what the world needs right now. It's music. Yeah, Dean, it's not always the easiest thing to cope with. You know what I mean? And no matter how well versed you are with that kind of thing, you know, if you understand impermanence and all that, it's just there's not a way to take it lightly, unless you're a damn sociopath or something, which obviously you're not. But but yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, he's if he's got you there for him, he's doing all right. He's got a good, compassionate brother to make him laugh and think and enjoy enjoy himself. You know. Dean saying, "Yeah, please take your anti-cancer meds. He's gone bush on it, and the secondary cancer came back." I don't know. If I get diagnosed with a terminal illness, I'll probably Thelma and Louise the truck. Mom's saying I lost my mom in September. Yeah, grandma finally went. 95 years old. Cut down in her prime. Mom's saying starve cancer, don't eat sugar. It sounds like I starve myself. Let the cancer have the sugar. I want it. I want the sugar. I want all the sugar. Brian saying I lost my dad a year ago. Yeah, Brian lost his pops. Brian was taking care of his pops too, so that's not the easiest thing. You know, he's right there with him the whole time. Mopar Man is saying that a lady at work said her aunt had throat cancer and started taking anti-parasitic herbal supplements and had no more cancer. I mean, I don't know. Nathan's Mopar Garage is in the chat. Howdy, Nathan. We are talking about music and cancer. How are you, brother? Dean's saying, Mom, good advice. Yeah, Mom's a pretty smart lady. She got some good stuff to say, and she's pretty well read on a lot. But like most good sons, I'm reluctant to listen. Music heals indeed. But yeah, it's been a mellow weekend. Nothing crazy going on. I worked yesterday and went with the boy and the lady to a Halloween event. Today was kind of slow. Um, I did cut myself shaving pretty good. It like stopped bleeding 2 minutes ago or whatever. So Nathan's Mopar Garage lost mom to cancer in 08. I'm sorry, Nathan. Abel D is saying I lost my pops last Thanksgiving. Was thankful he's no longer in pain and resting in peace. HGYPDM DNMC is in the chat saying, where are you from? I'm from California, man. How about you? Welcome to the chat. Buffed out Compo saying shaving cut, not a drone. Yeah, not a drone this time. I was getting too comfortable with the straight razor, and I got myself good. I think I missed a spot here. I've got like half a Hitler mustache. Mopar Man saying same thing with a guy I read about that had cancer in his dog's vet prescribed him worm medicine and no more cancer. Mopar, man, it sounds like cod swallop, I'm not going to lie. Brian M. Oh, yeah, that's right. You have the Hungarian wax chilies. I need to come grab some. No, I definitely can't read that. Like insane, you're from Wingdings. Cousin Mike's interested. Cousin Mike makes salsa now. Brian M. saying I have some chilies that are red now. Abel's asking, how's the gig going? Growing your tool arsenal to big boy size wrenches and sockets. The tool arsenal is ever growing, Abel, ever growing. I realized I have a huge lack of metric tools, which was a point of pride before, but it's kind of holding me back now. But lots of tools. I don't know the Snap-on guy much though right now, which will probably change as soon as I don't owe him anything. But I've been trying to accumulate whatever I can, just the same as always. Dean saying, my adopted mom passed on from the Big C in 2003 after 32 years of fighting it. It's not always an instant death sentence. She was 70 years old. Dean, I'm telling you, the second they diagnosed me with something, it's like, flip everybody off and drive my truck off a cliff. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's one of those things, you know what I mean? It's hard to, for a simpleton like me, it's hard to understand, first of all. And then, you know what I mean? Even if you do understand it, coping with it, it's not an easy thing at all. Cousin Mike's hang drying some cayenne peppers. Buff Del Campo saying, I've been working on drones for 19 years, and the only person I know that had a drone collision in the face. Buff, I want that to show you how my luck is. That's a great example of the luck that I have. Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying Snap-on is too expensive. Yes, it is, Nathan. It is. And I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot for spending money on it. I'll admit that right now. It's not a smart thing to do. But I gotta, it's justified because I have a son. They're going to be his tools someday. Plus, I really like Snap-on tools. They're pretty damn nice. Not to say, you know what I mean, you can't get good tools from Ulsa or Tecton or Craftsman or any of the vintage companies or whatever it may be. Plus, I don't always buy Snap-on. Some of it's just ridiculous. So I'll buy Blue Point. I have some Mac tools. I have one set of Matco wrenches. I really like Cornwell tools, but I've never had a dealer personally. I've always just found stuff at the swap meet or whatever it may have been. All I'm saying, for big stuff, a set of Harbor Freight service wrenches covers many bases and you can bang on them. Also, the difference between metric and analog really tends to stop mattering once past an inch. I did not say Harbor Freight, Mike. I like Harbor Freight tools. I mean, some of that stuff holds up all right. I'm not big on the Icon tools because everybody's like hoodwinked into thinking it's the same cast as Snap-on, and not that I care about that. It's just the fact that the Icon tools are not really that affordable either, you know. Maybe compared to Snap-on, but, you know, what isn't affordable compared to Snap-on? At that rate, you know, you could probably buy yourself better quality tools outside of Harbor Freight. I don't know. Feels gimmicky to me. Buff Del Campo saying I had a Blue Point top box for many years. Cousin Mike's saying they already own my soul. They don't own my soul yet, Mike, but I am going to probably pay them till I die. So Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying I have lots of Craftsman stuff. Craftsman tools are great. I mean, great. And I really love Husky tools, especially the old US made Husky tools. Those are really nice. I I don't know. I just like Snap-on tools. It's one of those things. I feel like it's a little bit of a flex, you know, when I go to work on somebody's stuff and they see my tools. It makes them feel warm and fuzzy inside. To me, it was you know, I could justify charging what well, another reason I could feel comfortable charging what I wanted to charge for my work. Um, and then, you know, of course, the cars you're working on, you know, if it's just my own stuff, I don't care. I used Craftsman and Proto and Ward's Master and everything on the truck for years and years. But, you know, if someone brings in their $100,000 resto mod build, it's like, you know, I want to throw some expensive tools on it. Maybe I'm an ass. I mean, I am an ass, but I don't know. It made me feel better. Ethan's Mopar Garage is saying, Landon, I have a few Snap-on tools, but those tool guys always have money in their. Oh, yeah. Stoic Steel is in the chat. Saying I use Carlisle wrenches and sockets, Snap-on, and Matco for most other tools. Matco's got some great stuff, Stoic. But their whole thing is rebranding anyway, so you can find a lot of it with under a different name. I've never used Carlisle, though. Ethan's Mopar Garage is saying I have the Husky Impact sockets. They're pretty nice. A lot of people buy Milwaukee tools nowadays, and the Milwaukee hand tools, I feel like, maybe they're good quality, but they look a little funky. Buff Del Campo is saying, lately I've been buying some gear wrench tools, but the greatest number of tools are Snap-on. Gear wrench is nice, Buff. Gear wrench makes some nice tools. I bought a set of, like a hex set from them. It's got Torx, E-Torx, Torx Plus in there and everything. And some of those were a little bit brittle. I snapped a couple of them. But, you know, obviously that's different than basic hand tools. I feel like I should have spent a little more for this, you know, and just got a different set. But Mike N's asking if anyone is using Tang tools. I'm unenlightened, Mike. Dave Lewis is saying I still have my grandfather's 1938 Snap-on tool chest. I'm jealous of that, Dave. That's the one that it looks almost like an old Kennedy chest, right? It's got the raised metal handles on it and everything. Sand Mountain Ballistics is in the chat. Howdy, Hunter. How are you, man? Olive saying I have what's left of my old Craftsman, various oddments, pawn shop finds, and some Harbor Freight, especially stuff I don't use a lot. Dave was saying, yeah, that's pretty cool, Dave. That's like, I really love the old Kennedy boxes, and you know, of course, the Snap-on's just, it's got that cool factor, especially the old stuff. But I don't know. You know, I mean, I guess it just depends. It depends what you want to do. For me, I mean, I'm kind of an ass about it, so certain tools I just would rather spend some money on. And then there's been times in the past where I didn't have what I need, so as soon as I do get the chance to buy what I need, I want the best possible. Again, I'm kind of an ass of a man, but you know, it's not like I'm out there buying Gucci this or anything like that. I don't drive anything fancy or really wear nice clothes. So it's like, you know, I'll spend a little bit of money on my tools. Spend a little bit more money on food. That's about it. Terrence Seymour saying, I got a few Tang tools, mainly big impact sockets over 32 millimeter. Terrence, I was telling a guy at work about your Hilux because he had one on his shirt. I was trying to make some conversation with him, but I think he might be like Gen Z or something because he just kind of looked at me like this. He was like, I don't know. Bless his heart. But if it's good enough for Terrence, it's good enough for me. I'll try some Tang tools. Not really big on the name. If Dakota was here, he'd probably be really big on the name. Olive's got a good point here. She's saying, I'm actually generally not disappointed by Duralast things I picked up. When shit, I need this or that for a job. Gouge. But it's usually okay stuff. Yeah, it holds up all right. Dave Lewis is saying, I've been using Tecton Tools, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Send them a picture of the broken tool and they send a new one, no questions asked. I was thinking about trying Tecton, Dave. I emailed a couple tool companies because they have affiliate programs and stuff for YouTube channels, but I think I'm still too small time. But I thought that would be kind of cool. Do some tool reviews and stuff. It'd be interesting for you guys, and hell, I get free tools, so be kind of an ass to say no to that. As long as it's something useful, you know what I mean? Everything, a lot of the offers I get are just stupid, pointless stuff. So it's like, all right, you know what I mean? What does that have to do with cars? What are the people who watched my channel going to get from this? You know what I mean? Usually nothing. So I don't take anybody up on their offers. Buffdale Compo was saying, a couple years ago, I bought a Snap-on quarter-inch drive electronic torque wrench. It's broken twice and now quit working again. I just replaced it with an Amazon click stop. Buff, it's hit or miss. It was the digital type torque wrench? We've got a couple at work. The quarter inch is really, really accurate. The half inch is really accurate. But one of the 3/8 torque wrenches we have is like, it's got a mind of its own. It wants to turn off, it wants to turn on. It just doesn't, it's not good. Personally, I actually have the same, I think it's a gearhead torque wrench that @Zero loaned me. I kind of half stole it from him years ago. I think it's a gearhead brand, and it's got the adapter to where you can use both 3/8 or half-inch drive on it, and it's held me down. @Zero, that's right. I still have the torque wrench. But it's very accurate. I remember testing it next to the digital Snap-on at the last shop, and it was right on the money. It was exactly where it should have been. Obviously, for things under 20 pounds or whatever, the digital torque wrench was pretty dang handy. Stoic Steel saying, my Snap-on half-inch Tech angle torque had to be warranted once. He's like, the LCD just died on it. Yeah. I like those digital torque wrenches though. It's so handy to not have to switch wrenches for, increments. It's like at work we use Newton meters, and I still call it foot pounds, and people get all annoyed. It's not foot pounds. And excuse me. And but there, it's pretty cool not having to switch. You know what I mean? You go from torquing a head on or whatever, or say, you finish up, your main caps or your rods or whatever, then you need to get your oil pan on. You're just inch pounds for your oil pan. And I don't know, it's pretty handy. Gary Dryden's in the chat saying, howdy, Ari in chat. Howdy, Gary. How are you, man? How'd the week treat you? Anything cool happen? Anything life-changing? @Zero saying, that torque wrench, I walked up to Pep Boys, so that's why I bought it, due to being in walking distance. Buffdo Compo saying, yep, digital, beep, click, everything. It was great when it was working, but it quit again when I needed it. That sucks, Buffy. I mean, that's really the point, when you need the dang tool. But some of, like I said, it's hit or miss. Some of them stand up to abuse. Some of them really don't. @Zero saying, yeah, I know you still have it, bro. I made some money off that damn torque wrench, man. That's what I used to torque down the heads on this V8. That's what I used to torque down the head on the 6-cylinder. That's what I used to torque down the head on the Slant 6. So @Zero plays a part in all of my work. I think of it like that. When people give me tools or help or advice, you know what I mean? Hell, even just stickers, when people like Nathan and Cousin Mike, they gave me stickers. It's like they're watching my back while I'm working. Sand Mountain Ballistic saying, Oliver, you're talking about grips. Oh, wait, I missed one from Olive, didn't I? Yeah, Sand. Oh, hey, gun guys. As I'm sort of squaring away this 1911, anyone know much about the golf ball texture grips, particularly for non-meaty hands? Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying, I like the old click torque wrench. I really do too. That's another one. If you ever use the half-inch drive snap-on click type torque wrench, the sound it makes is it's beautiful. It's like kinesthetic joy every time you torque something. Gary Dryden saying, life-changing, yes, and good, no. On the plus side, looking for a different job because F these bosses of mine. Hey, you know what? Maybe that is a good thing, Gary. You know, getting out of a shitty job like that, it's like a weight off your shoulders. Obviously, not having a job is a new weight on your shoulders, but you know what I mean. It's not. It's a forward move. You know, it's not. You're not going backwards. Hell, it's not even a lateral move. You know, you're gonna get something better, man. So there's some decent gigs out there, and usually the only thing holding you from getting them is the job you have. So I mean, you know, I'm sure you'll do great, Gary. And yeah, F those guys. Cousin Mike saying, Gary, I'm looking for a minion. Pays in peanut butter and potatoes. Mike, I'm going to send you my resume. Mike, that's low, man. It sounds like someone else threw away the accordion. He says, oh, man. Oh, man. I said that at the new job. I was like, oh, man, not a single accordion in here. People are like, what? I'm like, nothing. Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying I have Craftsman inch and foot pound torque wrenches. Nathan, how do they hold up? You know, because I mean, eventually at Zero is going to want his back. I got to buy a couple, and I don't want to spend on Snap-on. I really don't. I don't. They're nice. Don't get me wrong. It's nice, but I'm going to end up spending. I'm going to be like out $1,000 for 2 torque wrenches. Gary's saying, yeah, always a better job. That's for sure, man. You can't. You know, in dealing with people, that's usually a surefire sign that shit's not going well. It's like, all right, yeah, F these guys, you know. You should be able to work with someone reasonable enough to where you don't want to, you know, have to hate them, you know. Mike Ains saying, work for yourself, F them. Yeah. That's not the easiest thing either, especially a person like me, you know, I'm not the most resourceful when it comes to, I mean, I do all right. But, you know, certain things that, you know, a company will take care of, payroll, taxes, benefits, you know, stuff like that. Unless you're smart, which I'm not, those things get difficult to deal with. Stoic Steel saying probably more than $1,000 to be honest. Yeah, let's face it, probably be like $1,200 at least, and that's if I got them on promo or something. And again, they're really nice, but it's like in my own capacity, I don't use a torque wrench enough to really merit that kind of a purchase. Olive saying, yeah, I just finished up. She's talking about the grips on her 1911. She's saying, I just finished up and lightly altered some plain ones I got right off. Came out pretty good. I don't want to spend on this. Oh, something went down out there. We got engine 7. Gary Dryden saying, yeah, I got to figure out what my next step is, but the casino here is always good. Always a good option. Start hourly is 20 plus tips. Oh shit, that'll hold you up, Gary. Where are you located, Gary? Is that Cousin Mike says it's not a job if you don't contemplate. I can't say that on YouTube, Mike. They'll flag me every day and dream of not waking up. Paul Pajui is in the chat. Howdy, Paul. How are you? He says, just checking in. Yeah, dude, we're nothing going on here, man. We're talking about expensive torque wrenches and the value of snap-on tools, and we're also talking about crappy jobs. Gary Dryden's in Washington State. Damn, I didn't know that, Gary. It's where my brother lives. He probably said that before. I'm just brain dead, man. Bless my heart. But 20 in Washington State really ain't bad. I feel like the cost of living's pretty reasonable out there. They have decent wages too. That was one thing I was astonished about, is that even a couple years ago, the wages were significantly higher, and the housing and just general living was significantly cheaper than down here. And it's also beautiful. Gotta love the Pacific Northwest. It's crazy though. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people up there just choose homelessness, man. Hunter saying I need to get me a good job so I can fund all my hobbies. Hunter, you gotta just get the FFL to make ammo, man. Do that for a living. Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying that his torque wrenches are 20 years old and work good. You have to remember to turn your torque wrenches down on the lowest setting when you're done for all brands. Oh yeah. Olive saying past a certain point, it's like, yeah, trade up to something a bit smaller and ambidextrous. Hunter is asking if anyone knows how to apply at the post office. Hunter, you don't want to do that, man. There's a reason they call it going postal. Olive saying I basically have cheap torque wrenches for general reality checks. Mike N saying there's scan tools that go for far more than that. Oh, yeah. And saying that's government work, Hunter. You probably need to take the civil service exam. Buff Del Campo was saying that my half-inch drive torque wrench is a snap-on. I bought it in '79. It still works well. I check its calibration every so often. It's always good. That's a good era too, Buff. I wish I could have been buying tools back then, but what are you going to do? Olive saying I do have a couple Harbor Freight loss leaders. They're supposed to be okay if you can calibrate them with something known. Hunter saying post office pays $18 to $23 an hour and it's not going to break me down. Hunter, I'm telling you, there's a reason. It's called going postal, man. Gary Dryden saying UPS is hiring and easy to get on, Hunter. It's really good pay as well if you're able-bodied. Yeah, but I mean, that's like those both of those jobs are like full-on just miserable drudgery. Like you might as well be behind the Iron Curtain jobs. I worked at UPS for 4 years, and it was like being on a Volga boat. And the pay back then was pretty horrible. And they tried to make up for it by giving you benefits, but it's like I was like 24 years old. You know what I mean? What am I going to go like? When I go get my blood levels checked? Come on. And by the time they want to promote you, it's like, okay, we're going to need you to work, 70 hours a week delivering toilet paper during this pandemic. They don't tell you how many people have heart attacks every year in those damn brown trucks because it's a lot. More, it happens every year. A couple guys. Don't work for UPS, Hunter. Don't do it. I mean, unless you get somebody pregnant or something, don't do it, man. Friggin' Volga boat job. Ray, ooh, yeah. Ray, ooh, yeah. We fell the stout birch tree. Don't do it. Nathan's got a good point here. He's saying, you have to hit some estate sales for good tool deals. Yeah, I need to. I'm just a damn shut-in. Abel D saying, as I get older, my wrist clicks on quarter-inch drive torque specs. My elbow clicks on 3/8 drive torque specs, and my shoulder snaps on half-inch drive torque specs. I feel that, Abel. Sometimes I get a bad pop on the shoulder. Buff Del Campo's got a good one here. He's saying, maybe I'll do a video about checking torque wrench calibration. Please do, Buff. I'll check it out, man. I need to learn that. At Zero saying, your UPS was like communist level, odd due to its location. Excuse me. Olive's saying UPS is generally better than FedEx. Yeah, because some of them are union, but that's the only advantage. FedEx technically compensates you more, but you're more disposable. Whereas in UPS, you've got the union backing, so you can be a lazy bastard if you feel like. Which, you know what I mean? It's if that's what you're into, sure, but it was like the most union job I ever worked for. It was local 952 of the Teamsters, and it was like my joke was always local 95 who? Because they weren't there to to enforce the contract. Everybody got walked all over. The wages were crap. I mean, absolute crap. I made like $1 more than I made friggin' delivering pizzas when I was a teenager. And I mean, oh man. And then I was working nights too, so the people in that damn oh my god. Hunter, do better than me, dude. Alba's in the chat. Howdy, Al. How are you, man? Gary Dryden said, I know when I worked there, I would, on a light day, clock in 25 miles of walking. Yep. Hunter saying, I could apply at the steel place. They roll steel into tubes, but it doesn't sound like it pays as good as the post office. Shell's saying, hey, leave FedEx alone. Shell, would you want to work on the truck line? Danny Boyd saying, my favorite job is cutting grass. OSHA can't touch me, which means I can drink on the job. Boss was telling me, take it easy. We still have other property to cut. Buff Del Campo saying, an old friend of mine used to say, blue torque it. Blue torque is when the bolt is tightened until a blue vein pops out in the side of your head. Yeah, I mean, Buff, that's almost the purpose of torque specs is to make sure the fastener's at a point to where it's about to snap, right? To where it's almost expanding. I mean, in a lot of, right? I mean, didn't say no cops when you're cutting grass. Can't say that about delivering pizza. Hunter saying, I don't know, I can get on at O'Reilly's, but I don't know about that one. It might be a little less pay. Might be a little less pay, but I mean, you could get in there. Hunter, the post office really ain't bad, man. It really ain't bad. It's not easy work. Might drive you insane, but in the same breath, it's like you got more money, you got good benefits. It's government work, so it's steady, and it would probably allow you to fund your hobbies better. So don't let me dissuade you from that. But I'm sure you could just kind of talk to someone and apply because, especially if it's a union job, knowing someone might be more important than anything else. Whoa, 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 whoa. Gone wild. All I was saying, Buff, the actual torque I might want to be able to apply with brute force and ignorance really varies by the day. Rich 220's in the chat. Howdy, Richard. Gary Dryden saying, yeah, cutting grass was my favorite job. I've had easy, honest work. Dean saying, I've been giving you free half kiwis. You got me for life. Buff Del Campo saying, torque is right when the bolt is attached, but it hasn't yielded yet, not permanently stretched. Dave Lewis is saying basically what I said. He's saying every postal worker I know is gun crazy. Yeah, Dave, see, that's what I'm saying. It's the name of his channel is Sand Mountain Ballistics. So he's already armed, and he's like, hey, should I go work at the postal office? But Dave, he's too young to have heard the whole Uzi on the clock tower thing. So I'm trying to be, Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying, I used to work at Murray's before they got bought out by O'Reilly's. It was called Murray's over there. It was called Kragen out here. Kragen. Everyone called it Kragen, but it's Kragen, which is arguably much more Irish than O'Reilly's. I mean, one sounds like the friendly drunk bishop or something. Oh, yes, O'Reilly. But then you've got Kragen. It's where you get your auto parts. Steeped in toil and misery. Kragan. At Zero St. O'Reilly's is easy. I was RSS assistant manager. Make it fun. Time goes fast. Hunter's asking how I applied. I never applied for the postal office. I saw Poetic Justice and I didn't want to be like Tupac. No, I'm just kidding. I never applied to the postal office. Saying everything I'm seeing on the internet says you have to pay $40. Is it simple as going down there and asking for an application? I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is, Hunter. Just pop your head in there and ask. It's the easiest way. Either they direct you, either you get a good answer or they direct you somewhere at least, you know what I mean, generally. Barrow's Garage is in the chat. Howdy, Brother Bear. Dave Lewis is saying fit right. Says Bagara. Oh, since I heard your lilting laughter, it's your Irish heart I'm after. Callahan's. Kim Fixes Things is in the chat saying, I'm sorry, mods, for making a comment that I should not have made. Kim, what comment did you make? Did it censor it? You should not be censored on this channel, Kim. You're great. How are you, Kim? Welcome to the chat. Everybody, that's Kim Fixes Things. Buff's cohort, the accomplice. Olive saying, sure, and I'll just be needing a friggin' vacuum. Hunter saying, I like my job now, but no benefits and not enough hours isn't enough for me. I feel you there, man. Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying, Sand Mountain, it was a good job while I was going to school to be an auto mechanic. I enjoy working as a pipe fitter more than being a mechanic. I could see that, Nathan. Pipe fitting's better work. Kim saying, I'm doing very well. Been listening over Buff Del Campo's shoulder while doing some work. Nice. Nice. Yeah, it shouldn't be censoring you. You guys have done an amazing job on that Valiant. I need to try to emulate that with my Dart. Dean saying, no more snake. What about snakes? Snakes? Huh? Good old Arnold Schwarzenegger. Conan the Barbarian. I realized I was having a total Schwarzenegger moment last night. I was driving the truck around and smoking a stogie. Buff Del Campo saying we had a snake in the house. Hopefully not a poisonous one. Was it like a garter snake or something? I got to catch up on videos with Buff and Kim, though. Those they've got some good ones out. I haven't been watching too many. Kim's saying we've been having a great time with the car and the snake. Next, we were supposed to put a pipe a turbo on it. They're both saying black racer snake, not venomous. Well, that's cool, as long as it's not going to kill you. It's still probably not a welcome guest in the house. Yeah, that's Buff was asking Tony on his live stream if Tony was ready for you guys to take it over the shop, and he said yes, so I'm sure we'll see some goodness from that, from both channels, all three channels, hopefully. Good old Alva's in the chat. Al, I've been meaning to give you a call. I was busy as hell this week working. I don't know how many hours I put in, and I worked yesterday too, so I've been a full-on zombie. It's either errands or work or just, brief moments of reflection. Becker Woods Customs is in the chat. Howdy, Aaron. Not much, man. I'm sitting here ranting, same as ever. Nothing too crazy. How are you, man? How's it down under? How you going? Buff Del Campo saying we did a couple videos about the snake. Did you guys keep it as a pet or something? Good old Peckerwoods Customs, our Australian outlaw friend here. Buff Del Campo saying we let it go a long way from here. Al saying I'll call you. Yeah, call me, man. I'm always happy to hear from you, brother. Kim Fixes Things is saying we were feeling a little insecure because Tony sometimes talks about not working well with others. It's hard to know where we stand because he isn't the easiest person to keep in touch with. Definitely, definitely. I could see where that would, he'd be a little apprehensive. But I don't know. Both of you guys are incredibly professional and, from what I've gathered, very cool, mellow people. So I can't see you guys having any issue with Tony. And I don't know. I feel like that would be probably one of the better collaborations, especially because you guys, aren't there to kind of parade around or anything. You're there to work, and it's something that Tony's interested in. Obviously, he donated most of the project to you guys, didn't he? Buff Del Campo is saying I work well with Tony. Of course, Buff, because you're working. You know what I mean? You're not like he was talking about with the people and their egos and everything else. And Kim's an incredibly clever mechanic as well, so I can't see that being an issue. Hunter saying there's a place down the road that makes suppressors. Maybe you could get a job with them. That would be really cool, Hunter. I mean, something firearm related would be great for you, I feel like. I mean, it's in your name, man, Sand Mountain Ballistics. I mean, working for yourself, too, if you made some kind of specialty ammo or something, Look how much people spend on a pack of buffalo boar, man. You could make some money. Barrow's Garage is saying, I think Tony is getting ready to make the move to the new location, and that's what it's been on the mind more than anything. I'm sure. Buff is saying he did give us a lot of stuff. Yeah, exactly. So he's got interest in the project. It's not like, it's like you're kind of sharing something with him more so than putting something on him, right? I don't know. I've been talking to Tony for years. Obviously, I've never met him, in person, but I feel like I definitely share his madness. So, I mean, I got that much. Kelly Kelprods is saying level 10 GAT. Do I even want to know? Do I even want to know? Kim's saying it took us longer than anyone had hoped to get this far with the car. Thanks for your encouragement. All right, Kim, I feel like you guys did a great job, like a really great job. Everything looks great. It's working smoothly. You guys did everything properly. I mean, you got to imagine that's farther than I've gotten with my Dart, and I've had that thing since 2019. But I think you guys do really well. And I don't know. The work speaks for itself. Like Sailor Jerry said, my work speaks for itself. Puff Del Campo saying planes. Tony won't even ride in a plane. Level 10 GAT. I'm unenlightened, Kelly. You gotta tell me what that means. Sand Mountain Ballistics saying that's true, Ari. I just have to jump hoops through ATF BS. Hunter, I think what it is you have to get your FFL. You have to get your federal firearm license, and it does cost. And to get the FFL to make ammunition is a tiny bit easier than getting the FFL to sell firearms. But if you get the FFL to sell firearms, you could do both. So, I mean, it's to be considered, man. I mean, you could basically run your own gun shop, armory. I mean, there's the Sonoran Desert Institute. You could take a couple courses in gunsmithing, maybe offer something like that. But I don't know, man. I mean, the biggest thing is you being willing to work. A lot of people don't have that. So it's like no matter what you put your time into, I'm sure you'll do well. Dean saying, Ari, you need to give UTG a big man hug. I seen Dean. See what I mean, Dean? That's where I share the madness. Like I don't really like touch people a lot. Can ask my mom. Like I don't really don't really do that. I was saying, oh hey Kim, on the Spitfire, when you get there, I might have a shift knob for you around here somewhere. And they're saying Uncle Tony reminds me of other hard ass bosses I've worked for, and have respect for. He's a real dude. Barrow's Garage is saying, I've been here in my spot for 8 years now, and I still have cars and trucks scattered across the country. One of these days I'll fully move into the shop. Beckerwood's cousin saying, Barrow's Garage, last time I moved, it took a day to do the house, and 4 days to move my garage, cars, and tools, etc. Oh, yeah. Hunter saying, that would be killer, Ari. One day I might be able to do something like that. Yeah, 100%, man. And, it was something that I considered doing, especially after the pandemic. Because I don't know if you remember, but during the pandemic, the gun stores had lines around the corner and everything else. So there's a lot of people out there with firearms that they're going to be using. And let's face it, potentially don't know how to use properly. So there's going to be a good market for a gunsmith out there, even if it's just for average service and repairs. And then ammunition is one of those things. Like if you have it and people around you want it, you know what I mean? It's going to sell. Even the crappy stuff at the range sells. So. Alva's saying, hey, Barrows, any cars in SoCal? Terrence Seymour saying, I love guns. They were my life. I collected them for 45 years. I made it my job. Now I manage a collection of 1,700 weapons, and I sold my own collection last weekend and not interested in them. Terrence has got some cool stuff. The Bofors gun I'm pretty jealous of. Barrow's Garage is saying, almost. There was a 68 T-Bird in Riverside I damn near bought. I would have helped you with that, Brother Bear. Kim Fixes Things is saying, Olive, that would be great. I had no idea where the project is going to go. We will be doing the Willow Run as the weather goes into winter. Nice. Buff Del Campo saying, Barrow's Garage, for years I was working for a company that had me in Maryland, Arizona, Ohio, and Oregon. I had tools in every place. Now I think most are here in Tennessee. It took 20 years. Alva's saying, T-Bird in Riverside, that's my speed. Al's been looking for something to build. He grabbed a Chevy engine not too long ago for like basically a scrap price, and that's kind of what it was scrap. It was pretty bad. And yeah, I think he's kind of been bored of that because there's not much he can do with it. So I think his next idea was to build an engine run stand. And I think that's a little bit on hiatus. So he's looking for a car and an engine to build. And his preference is Ford. So he's, yeah, he's been looking. Hunter's saying, sucks we aren't close together. I bet we could go in together and make a big armory and with a shooting range and gun course, maybe teach an ammo reloading course. Hunter, I would love to help if I could, man, but don't let not having help stop you. I'm sure you could do just the same yourself. I thought it'd be really hilarious just to build like an old Flaubert style shooting gallery. You know what I mean? Something like that, because I don't know of one in existence still. But yeah, man, I'm sure you could do great, especially in Georgia. Out here, I mean, getting the space and the licensing for an outdoor range would probably be, that's a lot of years it would probably take, but just the same, like I said, don't let anything hold you back, man. And, you know what I mean? I think the biggest enemy is getting comfortable. If you feel like something's going to be too hard or make you uncomfortable, man, jump into it. All I'm saying, my problem with trying to run a business is I don't really want money, I guess. Communism. No, I'm just kidding, Olive. I feel you there. It's hard to kind of want to, to get business minded. Buff Del Campo, Sand Mountain Ballistics is in Trenton, Georgia, which is, of course, the last county to join the union. Mom saying I'm fixing my kitchen by myself slowly. Al found a couple 454s. Where, Al? You have to ask him about that again. He says he's got to get the dog barking. Hunter saying it'd be awesome, Ari. I don't have money for that now. Maybe something in mind for the future. Buff's asking if you're allowed to have firearms in California. Yeah, Buff, you can. I mean, a lot of them are pretty neutered, magazine capacity or what you're allowed to put where on the gun. You know, it's pretty neutered. Transporting them, there's weird finite laws for that. Where you can discharge them, there's a bunch of laws on that, but you can have them. Peckerwood saying BBs. Sand Mountain Ballistic saying Ari knows the history of the state of Dade only because your brother. I find it hilarious. And D's in the chat saying, hello, there was an 80-ish Chevy Carnival shooting range. There was an 80-ish Chevy Carnival shooting range truck for sale up here in the northeast. Buff Del Campo, that's exactly what I told her to do. She even sent me a video of the teardown of her kitchen. And I was like, okay, if you don't like the video, clip a couple 15-second pieces of it, do a voiceover or add music or something, and, upload some shorts. People will watch them because you guys are all asking her to upload things and she hasn't been doing that. So, which, I know how it is, Mom. You're lazy. I'm just kidding, guys. My mom's not lazy at all. I'm glad I'm out of striking distance, though. But no, obviously, it's something new to you, Mom, but, you're already doing something that people will watch. And once you get the kitchen together, as you get the kitchen together, of course, you're going to be cooking, and people will watch that as well. And you cook really well, so I'm sure everyone will really enjoy it. Hopefully steal a few tricks from you. Hunter saying, my views on gun laws are tax stamps should be done away with, the full auto ban should be done away with, and legal gun owners should have access to full auto firearms if we choose. I'm in agreement there, Hunter, 100%. Mostly because I want my own M60. But yeah, I mean, at a certain point, Hunter, it's like, what's the difference? You know what I mean? Buff Del Campo, yeah, that's exactly. Shorts of the kitchen fix would be good. Just few. She, like I said, she already got a video of it. All she got to do is cut a few pieces out of the video. Wild about the saffron, Dean. It's worth more than gold. And D's saying, I think it's sold. Had the compressor for the air-powered machine gun. Damn, that sounds badass. Buff Del Campo saying, my son says we should be allowed to have any weapon North Korea is allowed to have. Oh, you mean the government, not the citizens. I was going to say that joke could have gone either way. Yeah, I mean, especially after we pulled out of Afghanistan and you see everybody with some pretty crazy stuff. You know what I mean? If the average person in one of those countries can have a fully automatic firearm, like, why can't we? Land of the free, huh? Dean saying there is a difference. Yeah, of course there is a difference, but I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? If you're depending on your intentions, of course, you know what I mean? I don't know, Dean. Barrow's Garage is saying full auto is legal, but it's spendy as hell. I have a couple friends with that FFL license, but they use it to manufacture more than to have fun with. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you can do it. You can, but like everything else, it just depends how much you can spend. Buff Del Campo saying, I think he means the citizens. He has a gun collection that's second to none. That's pretty badass. I mean, I've got a bunch of ragtag stuff, but it's just like, I don't know. Cat, don't do it. Aha, I got you. Now everyone's going to see you. Yes. Say hello to them. Camera cat. Like he hates it. He's like, no. All he is a big ass cat. My senior cat. My senior citizen cat. Oh, saying I really don't have the body weight for a full auto to be a feature for me. You'd have to get something fancy, all like a P90. Buff Del Campo saying my son is a Green Beret. He's been in the Army for 23 years. That's really badass, Buff. What a great dude. Mom saying stop it. Mom, he's a cat, not a stuffed animal. I got to mess with him sometimes. Andy saying we just got kittens and our senior cats are not super happy. Yeah, he's a moody old bastard of a cat. I can't imagine what he'd do if there were kittens around. Excuse me. Spencer's Drink Reviews and Chugs is in the chat. Howdy, Spencer. Terrence Seymour saying our police are so effed that they gave me a full auto license last week and I didn't even apply for it. I will ring and laugh at them this week. Apparently they're making safer communities. Sand Mountain Ballistics is saying, I think it's messed up how the damn FBI and CIA pays people do mass shootings just to push their gun control BS. That's for sure. What was it? That whole Hollywood, what was it, the bank robbery? I forget what it's called. Mom knows. How's Spencer doing? Barrow's Garage is saying, Costa ammo these days, I'm happy with my cap and ball. With a mold, there's enough lead around to keep it going. I'm right with you, Brother Bear. That was, especially during the pandemic, that was my first go-to. I started casting everything, and sure as hell saves a lot of money. Everybody thinks they're too good for hard cast lead, though. Dean saying, it's afternoon here. So afternoon, Spencer's. Cat. Tss. What are you doing? What are you doing? Cat. Tss. What are you doing? Bastard cat. Yeah, LA bank robbery. Rich is just looking like, what the hell is this guy saying? Sorry, Rich. I really shouldn't be on the internet. Cat. Cat. Let's sell this damn cat. My senior cat. Paint neighbors in the chat saying the brothers with AK-47s. Yep. They were armed to the teeth. They had armor. They had everything. They were kitted out. Olive saying, hey, Barrows, I haven't had the chance to shoot cowboy guns. Haven't had the chance. They're fun. The cap and balls are fun. It takes a minute to load the damn things, but very cool. You know, it's a different kind of percussion and everything, and the black powder gives you a different thump. It's really satisfying, and the big cloud of smoke. So again, with the whole kinesthetic joy thing. Hunter's calling it a night. Says take care. Thanks so much for stopping in, brother. I hope you have a good week. Don't work too hard, man. And again, you know, just consider what I was talking about. Just you know, don't limit yourself at all, man. And you know, the fact that you're willing to work and try new things is more important than anything else. So. Aiden A1K Gaming. You're not wrong, but I don't want to read that one. Mopar Man saying, I call them robo robbers, took the body armor and sewed it together for extra protection, and took muscle relaxers so they wouldn't tense up for the firefights. Andy saying, I haven't tried to cast bullets yet, but I've done a few Babbitt bearings a few times. That's pretty badass, man. I was wondering about the Babbitt bearings. Somebody was just asking me about doing some work on their old Ford, and the symptoms they were talking about sounded like a Warren Babbitt bearing. So, thanks, Dane. Ad Zero saying, vintage arm, nothing feels like that to me. Shape, overall spirit of them, I feel as if I've held them in a past life. That's an actual thing. Alva saying Quigley. Barrel's Garage is saying black powder is a push, not a punch. It's a totally different experience than smokeless. That's right, because it's technically a low explosive and everything. And yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. Hunter, check your fluids. Mopar Man saying, we shot the real black powder pistols and rifles, none of that modern day crap black powder stuff they buy at Walmart or Bass Pro. You talking about the Pyrodex? Oh my God. There's a DJ over there just butchering Montel Jordan. I'm glad I don't work security anymore. Danny Boyd saying Glockenspiel. Hunter, I'm with you there. The single action army is probably the greatest. One of the greatest, at least. And 45 Cult's cool because you can do a lot with it. I'd probably just do cowboy loads and stuff, but it's pretty versatile. And especially depending on the barrel your pistol has, there's a lot to do with it. You know, you can fuss with it. That's the beauty of reloading ammo. You just it's more to fuss with. Like, you know. Excuse me. Danny Boyd saying Sam Colt made all men equal. My best friend is Samuel Colt, the wicked six gun that I told. Oh. Sorry, guys. I need to hydrate myself here. Had Santa Ana winds today, so it's dry as all hell. Andy saying it's not uncommon to have to take shims out and re-scrape Babbitt bearings. Andy, I might have to pick your brain on that if you ask me to help him with that car, because that's I've worked on some old, you know, some vintage Chevy, but that's like 50s era, 40s, 50s era, and that's it's a different beast, as you well know. I was talking about the Billy Club. My uncle had a Billy Club that he called St. Christopher, which I think is hilarious. Barrel's Garage is saying it's really cool how all this stuff directly crosses over to engine building as well. Playing with powered burn rates is a lot like playing with timing and octane levels. Definitely. I feel like it made me better with mechanics. I was able to measure thousandths a lot easier and understand pressures and exactly like you're saying. Burn rates, octane levels, timing, pressures. Andy saying Chevy stayed Babbitt until 54, I think. Yeah, the old 216s were Babbitt. And 54 is when they pressurized them, and then they had the 235. They changed them a little bit more because my engine was technically a 59. It had another main cap and, yeah, the full pressurized oiling system, so it was all futuristic. Oh, you're talking about those breech loader kind of. Oh, I see. I know what you're talking about, Mopar man. They're still muzzle loaders, but they're all fancy. The Thompson center fires, right? All I'm saying, I've actually always intended to engrave a 1911 slide with Plan B. Andy, I think it was. I don't know. I think it was 5 if it wasn't just an even 4. I can't remember offhand. I only owned the thing for 10 years. Why would I know? Yeah, that stuff's pretty cool. I mean, you get into older firearms like that too, and it's like I said, just a different. Really makes you appreciate the modern stuff. That's for sure. My only issue with the cap and ball pistols is how long it takes to load them, which I think the only solution I got there is just to go Josie Wales and carry like 5 or 6 of them. But a lot of the replicas are real cheap. I remember looking at them in the Cabela's catalogs when I was a kid, and always wanted them. Wanted to order one, and I think I finally got one when I was like 27 or something. Finally. Andy saying at least a spare loaded cylinder. I was saying as for cowboy shooties, I wouldn't be above cartridges really. Like I said, it's fun. It's cool. You know what I mean? You're sitting there with a powder flask and caps and, wax. Wax to mitigate the carbon fouling so your rifling doesn't get full of crap. Or the boar butter they sell is good too. I used a mix of beeswax, paraffin, and Marvel Mystery Oil because I love Marvel Mystery Oil. I'd put that shit on salad if I could. Barrel's Garage is saying 1858 Remington Army preloaded a handful of cylinders, and all you have to do is swap the cylinders. The Remington Barrow is so sophisticated. So damn sophisticated. One poor man saying, correct, Ari, those modern day black powder rifles are for the yuppies that don't want to pour into power, get their hands dirty, or use the ramrod because it takes too much effort. Yeah, I didn't really see the appeal of them until I realized that a lot of states have that separate muzzle loader season. So I thought it was kind of a cheesy way just to, snag some extra meat out of the season, maybe at best. But in that, which, it's whatever. It's like, all right, it's muzzleloader season. I'm going to use the least sporting thing possible. It doesn't matter how you hunt, I guess, if you're trying to get food. But yeah, that was my thought on a Mopar, man. Just an easy way to get through muzzleloader season. Shell saying, I want an 1850 Sharps Buffalo gun. Shell, Pedersoli is an Italian company that reproduces a lot of those rifles. And you could probably get yourself one to your liking. Dean saying I'd like a demon core and a screwdriver. That's one of the weirdest stories I've ever heard about, Dean. It's so dumb and tragic and interesting. I mean, it's pretty out there. Good Lord, I forgot where my mouth is. Good point, Olive. Shell saying, I also want a Lapua sniper rifle. I have a 1917 Springfield. Badass, Shell. Bet that thing gives you a nice thump. Anything with 30-06 is just Barrow's Garage is saying, I got into muzzle season because I got tired of getting shot at during rifle season. If you only have one, you think about it more. Brother Bear, I lack perspective. I've never gone to hunting season. I brush hunted a little bit, rabbits, doves, whatnot, but I've never really done a deer hunt or an elk camp or anything like that. But I think it's really cool, you know what I mean? Especially like I told you about the old rolling block I have, which isn't a muzzle loader, but just the same, it's a 140-year-old rifle that still works. You know, to take some game with something like that would be pretty rewarding, I think. But yeah, like I said, I lack perspective. I'd be pretty pissed if anybody shot at me, though. And my ghetto mentality might take over. It would be a whole different kind of season for me. Oh, saying not tiny, also not heavy though. Sometimes plays a role. Mom saying Benelli M4 Super 90 so she can hunt her husband. Danny Boyd said Marianne's lot. I'm unenlightened, Dan. I am unenlightened. All I'm saying, my friend has an M3 Super 90, very nice. Mopar Man's asking Barrows if he was wearing antlers. Oh, Dan, I need to rewatch it. It's been a while. Been a while. I haven't watched Fast Times in a long time. Danny Boyd saying, I think she was one of the Pat Benatar looking babes. Barrow's Garage is saying, then I got into archery too. Many people got into muzzle, but after going archery, I never hunted with a firearm again. I mean, hell, if you can get some food, do it. I'm a blind bastard. I don't think I'd want to go the archery route. But hell, more power to you if you can do it. That takes a lot of skill. Probably just stick to the rifle, hope I got something. That's always been the real reason I wanted to hunt, is because I'm a fat bastard. I want to eat different animals and I want to have a bunch of meat in a freezer. So, it's Mom's talking about her friend who bow hunts. All I'm saying, when I was poorer but came into a bit of money, I bought a bow and would teach my friends archery because they fronted most of the ammo otherwise. At Zero saying, nothing feels like the link to ancient man, bow and arrow. Some of them are pretty cool. I was in a phase where I almost bought one of those old Fred Bear bows. But I was like, when am I going to use this? You know what I mean? This is going to sit in a corner. You know what I mean? Buff Del Campo is asking if you can plug a video. Of course. Of course you can, Buff. Whatever you need on this channel, brother. Paint Namer saying, I think I remember how to string a longbow. I'm unenlightened. Like I said, I grew up kind of citified, so it's like some of this stuff's a little... I adapt well, I learn all right, but, you know, some of this stuff's completely new to me. And they're still partying over there. That's cool. Olive saying, around when I bought that head gasket. I didn't do that video, Olive. I don't... I mean, I guess I could reveal the joyous head gasket here. No, I got to do the video first, Olive. It must. I want it. There needs to be production and grandeur, and maybe music, maybe a hazer. You know what I mean? I might need haze. Buff Del Campo saying, Kim just loaded up a video showing critters she found under the bathroom floor. Go ahead and link it, Buff. You got a wrench now. You're moderator. You can link whatever video you'd like. I was supposed to make Kim a moderator too. That way they could link their videos, because I've been very interested in their Valiant build. And decent. I picked up a locally made longbow a while ago, but thanks to my ADD, I haven't gotten any arrows yet. I'm right with you, Aunt D. I'm right with you, man. Barrels Garage is saying, years ago I used to shoot competition 3D for AR archery research. It was a lot of fun. Damn, Barrels, I didn't even know. K-pop Stan saying, do you support Palestine or Israel? K-pop Stan, I really try not to get political on this channel. But I appreciate the interest in the issue. It's been kind of one of those long drawn-out issues that a lot of people hadn't seen fit to address outside of banter on the news until now. So I'm glad to see people addressing a long-time Israel. She said, shame on you and Israel. Me and Israel? I stayed neutral and you throw a label on me? That's no, time out for you. Come on my channel, tell me what I believe. Cousin Mike saying, I support America. Listen to K-pop. Mopar Man's asking when the last time I did a desk pop was. Oh, poor man. We're about due for a desk pop. Auto Salvage Outlaws is in the chat. Kenny Boyd saying will adulate over God when he creates a fair world. I mean, yeah. I mean, you can't really, burden yourself with. I don't even know what to say on that one, Dan. Yeah, guys, I'm right here at about 2 hours. I'm falling asleep on you, which I apologize for. Been kind of a long week. I'll probably go ahead and call it a night if it's all right with you guys. Barrow's Garage is saying, telling you what to believe on your channel. That's like high school all over again. When I got an F on a question, they asked my opinion. Oh, that they asked your opinion? Yeah, pretty much. Cousin Mike saying, if we didn't have religion, what would Star Wars be based on? Thank you, Zero. Kim saying, thank you very much. You're welcome, Kim. Whatever you need. Whatever you need. There you go, Kim. That way you can link your videos. Because, again, I'm very interested in the Valiant build, and you guys have been doing really cool stuff over there. Saying, great seeing you again. Hopefully catch up with you in December. Yeah, of course, man. Sorry I didn't get a chance to see you. I know you're busy when you're down here, and it is a vacation, so you don't want to spend it ranting at some half asleep YouTuber. You know what I mean? Praying to God I listen. No, I'm just kidding. But just the same, I'd rather you and your wife did some cool stuff while you're down here and saw family and got out on the town and clubbing, hit the club. No, just the same, man. I hope to see you sooner than later. I appreciate you always, man. Kim saying we can do our best to keep it fun. I missed one from Terrence. Pat your pets. Ewoks. We're talking about Star Wars now? I don't want to. One of my biggest gripes with Star Wars is Yoda. He talks backwards the whole damn time. He talks backwards. He's speaking in riddles. He talks backwards. Then finally he's dying and he drops the shit and he's like, you must confront Vader. Finally. You must confront, you just said it, you must confront Vader. It's like he was fucking with him the whole time. The whole time. No, but very seriously, guys, I appreciate everybody stopping through for the live stream. Again, I'm sorry if I'm a little bit tired and everything else. And yeah, I'm just, like I said, just a little bit out of it, long week. And it's been a good time. I've really enjoyed the conversation. Needless to say, I learned something every week from you guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys sharing knowledge and everything else with me. It's sharpening, per usual. I hope you guys all have a great week out there. Hope everybody stays out of your way. Things go well. And everything is positive. I hope everybody has a happy Halloween because it is the superior holiday. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys sometime this week too. I'll try to do a weekday live stream. I tried to this week, but damn, I did not get a chance. It was busy. Dave Lewis saying, keep your powder dry. You too, Dave. But in the meantime, Thank you, guys. Make sure to check your fluids. Do better than me. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you next week, right? I hope. God willing. Thanks, guys. Check your fluids.